All right. Very good afternoon to everybody. It's 2 p.m. in quite, I would say, cloudy Finland, Espoo. We are here at the BT Forum studio together with my colleague Elena Valento that you're going to see later on during the presentations. And with me today for this Business Technology Forum's Wednesday webinar, we have our partner Sofigate with the guests from University of Helsinki, Ante Raunesuoma, and other guests arriving later on that will be then telling stories on how to succeed in business technology transformation. So I still see that the number of participants is increasing, so I'm expecting that some people will arrive a couple of minutes later. But to start with the practicalities, we are recording this webinar. It will be made available to you, afterwards as well. And then if you want to discuss or ask questions, you can use the chat window. And you should have the opportunity to choose either to ask the questions or comment to everyone, or just send something to hosts and panelists. So you can choose the audience for your chat messages from there. So depending what you want to ask, but please, whenever you have something to ask or comment, please use the chat. So we'll try to make this as interactive as possible. So let's start with this. So my name is Katri Kolesnik. I'm currently the president of the Business Technology Forum, meaning that since the beginning of this year, Business Technology Forum actually has new employees, or have owner employees, and here is the team for you to see who we are, and the purpose of what the Business Technology Forum is and is doing. So Business Technology Forum is a not-for-profit organization, meaning that, yes, we seek for financing our operations through the trainings that we offer, and overall the developing for the development of the model. But at the same time, then this Business Technology Forum aims at scaling up the user community around the Business Technology Forum, and we are working on making the standard available for everyone. Later on, I will be talking more about the type of certification trainings that we are having at the moment, and where they are held, how you can take part to them. But let me then quickly present you the team as it currently is. So we have 3 full-time employees at the moment in the Business Technology Forum: myself, my colleague Menno Huiben, and Elena Van Leenput, that you will be then hearing from later during this webinar. Then we have Ida Hirvonen as a coordinator, which she's working part-time for the Business Technology Forum, and the founder of the Business Technology Forum, and Sofigate, Juha Huovinen, who is then acting as the advising part for the forum. So here are all the links for the information, how you can contact us, where you have the business technology standard, and if you are interested in knowing more about the courses, you have the links over there as well. All this material will be shared with you after the webinar via email. So the agenda for today. So I will start especially for those of you who have not heard about what the Business Technology Standard is, or what is the Business Technology Forum. So a brief introduction to who we are. And then we are Elena Van Leenput, the CTO, the product manager, is going to tell you then what are the latest updates in the Business Technology Standard. And then we actually invite our partner, the implementation partner, Sofigate, here. And here already in the video, you see Hanna Lassila-Stramek, who is the head of Business Technology Academy at Sofigate. So she will give her greetings, and then we will hear actually from one of the Business Technology Academy students, Ante Raunesuoma, about how his experiences with the business technology leaders training program. Then I have here with me also from Sofigate, Timo Savolainen, who will then be bringing the news about the Sofigate, and then he has invited two guest speakers from SKF and SL Smith to tell about their transformation journey. So that's our agenda for today, and let's then start with presenting the Business Technology Forum. So now, if we think about the business technology, we maybe have to go back a bit in the history, and we have to think of what is the meaning of information technology and how it is seen by the business. I know this is very familiar to you, but maybe it's good sometimes to reflect how things have changed and what is going on in this very moment related to how we manage IT. So we could say that back to 15 years ago, 20 years ago, IT and information technology was seen rather a support function. It meant that whatever we did in our daily work, we needed some tools, we needed some software and to work, but maybe our main core business was not about technology, or the IT did not have such a big role in it. But yet we needed to have a function or the IT department to help us to really operate the tools that we needed in our daily work. And then we move forward and we go to the noughties more, starting from the 2010 and onwards. So what we have seen is that it's not only the support from the IT function itself, but actually that the meaning and the importance of information technology that has become more and more important in whatever we do, and actually being almost impossible to do our daily work without something related to the information technology. So information technology had become more and more a business enabler, and if we didn't have it working in a proper way, we would not be able to do our business. So where we are today is that we are in an era where actually we can't anymore so much separate the business and technology from each other. More and more, all what we do, the business that we do, and everything we need in order to function in a professional world, we need technology in there, whether that is then new solutions, new innovative ideas or innovative tools that we use. So more and more there are things that are making it us possible to function and to do the business. So we really would say, we can say that we can't separate anymore the business organization from the IT organization, and we cannot anymore so well distinguish or put a separation between the business, the technology part in the business or in the business solutions. And this is why, starting from the version 3.5 of the business technology standard, we started to call this business technology instead of calling it IT management or IT standard as the previous name of the business technology standard was. So this era is called business technology just because we cannot anymore separate the two from each other. So the fact that the technology plays always a bigger role, more and more, it has a more bigger role in what we do on a daily basis. It doesn't mean that it's less complicated. And the business people as well need to learn a lot of new things. And as also for the IT, there are always new things coming. So the whole thing is becoming more and more complex. So how do we really manage it all? Now that it is a common thing for IT and business, so actually the ideal thing is to have one model for everybody. so that it would be a model, one model for IT and for business. And actually, it should cover everything we do, everything we need to know actually to manage IT, information technology, or business technology. So if you could choose an ideal model then, that what would be ideal model that you could have in the organization with what you could manage it all? Maybe it would be preferably something really good, and even extremely good. And preferably it could be also free to use, so that everybody could have access to it, everybody could use it, and it would not have to be licensed as such, but it would be available for everybody. And this is actually now what the business technology standard is about. It has been developed together by a vast community of people wanting to develop the models and to share with everybody the best practices and models that have been proven to be working well. So here you see some companies and organizations that have been taking part to development of the business technology standard since the very beginning of the development, so 2009 and onwards. And the whole point of the business technology standard is that whenever there is a need for a new framework or a model or tool or template that the people in this community thinks that should be added to the standard. So Business Technology Forum, together with these organizations, then develop these things and then share it for everybody to use. In this slide, you have a few lines from a couple of the CIOs from the companies who have been taking part in developing the BT standard. So the whole idea on how the business technology standard actually works is here. So if we leave from the left, the one thing is that we develop something that we think or we know that the community needs, because we have been given the feedback from the community that this kind of model is needed and is currently lacking, or there should be something done with the current models. So after that development, we publish it, and anybody can then take part into the trainings where you can learn then how it works. Or at first, we also publish these materials as an open source. So in the managedbt.org, you can have either the article about it, or then you can read it in the actual model. Then when the user community, the companies, the organizations and individuals who want to use the model, they deploy, they take those models into use, they give feedback, and they give their views on how it should be further developed, and that feeds into the development again. So this is how we keep the model evergreen. And as the community is quite vast, because it is not just a closed community, but actually anybody wanting to read the material or use the material can feed in or give their feedback. We now then can see what is lacking and how we should develop the model. So of course, there are a lot of standards and frameworks and very good ones. And maybe one thing to know is that the business technology standard actually is a framework that is like an umbrella on top of the other frameworks, such as ITIL, SAFE, COVID, or TOGAF. But what really makes this a business technology standard unique is actually the roles. And I know that now that you are seeing the roles adding up, that you see that there are a lot of roles, and it is true, but just reminding you that the roles do not equal person. So a person naturally can have several roles, but the whole point of the roles is really that it is the humans, the people who actually operate and act based on the description of their role and the responsibilities that have been given to the role, they are the ones who make the models live and they make the implementation happen. So I think based on a lot of feedback, this is something that is quite unique, that we actually, for everything, for every model, for every part of the framework, we have the roles who are responsible for putting the standard in action. So a couple of words about how to actually deploy then the model. The first principle and the first idea of the model was actually that it actually is a way to create a common language between the business and IT. When first developed, the model was really meant for the business leaders who make decisions on the technology, on IT, what we should have, how we should do things, and what we want to have. And this has been kept throughout all the versions of the model. So it is really written for the business people, so with the business language, a common language that actually anybody can read and understand. But at the same time, it is a very good way for IT to find the common vocabulary together with business. So the first step actually is just that everybody reads it, so that you have a common grounds, a common way to speak about things, and when you have that, then you can start discussing on what needs to be done. Then one characteristics about the model is actually the pictures, and we have nicknames for the pictures that are sort of the main pictures, like the zebra picture over there, the mindset model, or the hockey rink used for the operating model, and so forth. And the purpose of the pictures is that whenever then you want to convey any messages, or you want to communicate about something and explain how something works, it is so much easier that you have this one picture that you use to communicate your messages. So all in all, the business technology standard has a lot of pictures, and hopefully they help anybody then to communicate things. The deployment itself then, when you start taking the standard it use, is made easy by using the guidebooks. So here you see some of the extension materials, or the posters that Elena will be talking later on. But basically, all these contain are a collection of the pictures or the frameworks and models within the guidebooks. And as part of the training, you always get then access to all these materials. So basically, what you do then in the deployment is that you start adapting these, or do you take these into use, and where needs to be if any modification needs to be done, you can then be doing it with help of the ready-made guidebooks. Basically, this is how we've been seeing that it can be done. So first of all, you can start today. If you haven't yet read the business technology standard, you can do it like today. You just browse to the website, and you can download it as a PDF, or just read it there on screen. And now later on during the spring, we will have the green card exam available for everybody. So you can just go to the web shop and get the certification. And the meaning of the certification is actually just to test your knowledge and your alignment with what the BT standard is about. Then you have two possibilities for the deployment. So either you take that into use on your own, so you can build your know-how, you can take the courses where you get all the materials and the instructions on what are the best ways of implementing model, and you can start doing that and then train your organization. Or you can then call out to the partners. Like here we have the Sopicate as implementation partner. You can ask them for help and the support with the implementation, and also help for building the training programs to then train your organization. We will be having more activities with the community during the spring that will be then announced later on. In the meanwhile, in LinkedIn, you have the Business Technology Forum showcase page, and if you follow that, you get then all the news and what's happening in the BT Forums community. So maybe it's good also now to discuss a bit why then deploying an open source model. What are the benefits for you? So why the business technology standard has been made open source and open since the beginning is that this is the way to really ensure that it stays up to date and relevant. Because having a wide community that uses it and gives the feedback, it is the way that we can ensure all the time, at all times, that it is relevant for everybody. And of course, you as an organization, if you deploy this an open source standard, it is that the way it has been developed is that the models have been tested. They have been first implemented in various organizations where they have been actually tested to work. And in this way, you can know that it is not just a theoretical framework, but something that is very practical. And at the same time, by taking some of this into use and then giving the feedback, you can contribute to the development and have your say in how the standard develops further. And then the third point, which is for me personally a very important point, is that when it's open, it actually promotes the democratization of the digital opportunities. So anybody, anywhere can just take the models, the best practices, the proven best practices, and start using the model and then benefit whatever the digitalization can offer today. One example of that is actually now here. What we have been doing lately is that we have been putting some development effort to develop these models that we are giving out to the cities so that they can then implement the EU missions for the sustainability. So these are some of the latest development, latest models that we have been doing together with some cities, and now we are spreading those and actually developing further with, for example, city of Espoo. So this was the what BT standard is in a nutshell. And now if you would like to know more, and maybe in your organization you would like to arrange a kind of session where you can invite people from the business and IT to come together and learn what this is. So you can reserve a visit to the showroom. It can be either kind of physical or virtual, and there we can then show you what has been developed, what is BT standard and what are the latest developments, and then based on your needs, elaborate further on those. So that was the part of the BT standard. Paula, are there any questions at the moment?
Yes, we actually did get one question regarding the roles. Question, does it provide guidance around optimal team constructs using these roles?
Yes, actually it does. And Elena actually will talk more about the extension for roles and responsibilities where we have that. So I'll let Elena to continue with that.
Yes, thank you, Katri. Hi, everyone. My name is Elena van Lambert, and as Katri introduced earlier, I'm the CTO, and I'm also responsible for the product management. I'd like to take that question first before we begin. So the the team construct. So in fact, BT Standard actually has sort of guidance for identities, and those identities are, let's say, focused on business value, and in that sense, it gives guidance for those type of team constructions. Okay, let's then go forward. So before I begin and tell you more, I'd like just to take the what Katri was talking about, the extensions and so on. So BT Standard Framework is actually on the website, which is called managebt.org, and that is open for everybody, and it contains the foundation of the whole framework. And we also have a Finnish site called bt-malli.fi, so you can also, if you're interested in the Finnish sites, you can go there as well. So it's not only that we have the framework, but we actually have created extensions, and we are updating the framework via those extensions. So what it means is that we go deeper into certain topics, and we are creating guidebooks that gives you a little more, well, a lot more information about how to do what. And those extension guidebooks are actually sort of like 70 to 100 pages long. So they are published and distributed differently than the actual website itself. So having said that, we can then go and see what we have published since March. And I put here since March 2021, because sometimes these updates you might not have noticed, and so on. And I also would like to point out that besides the website and the guidebooks, we also publish articles. And these are like white papers focused on certain topics. And here, since March, we have published the BT governance, so business technology governance levels. This is a very comprehensive guidebook on how the end-to-end governance actually look with BT standards. So that's actually very, very good document if you want to understand anything that goes to from one end to another, from strategy to the actual end-to-end development flows. Then there's another article that talks about the value of data, and this is focused mainly on the data governance. So whenever we published an extension, so we have since then published also the actual guidebook on the business technology governance and the data governance. So with those, we have also created articles that focus on certain topics or subjects within those. So those are good to look out for. The articles are actually published on the websites, and you can see from here that we also have created webinars on those. So don't miss the webinars itself if you want to find out more about the articles. Okay. Then we are essentially, we have a published cycle of 3 times a year, and that is in January, in May, and in October. Shout out from Katri if I'm correct. Yes, perfect. So in October 2021, we did have a release. So we bumped up the whole standard with a sustainability release, so 4.0.6, and that was the previous release from October. Then we actually published something called value streams for cities, and that's a very interesting one that focuses on implementing vitality, well-being, and sustainability in cities and regions. And that's available, unfortunately, in Finnish only, but I'm hoping that we're going to get that in English for all of you as well very soon. So that's only particularly or specifically in bt-malli.fi. Then we have essentially extended the extension itself with a deeper dive into data quality. So we have published an article about that. So please go to the website and look that up. And we have done some small updates on the website as well. And if you don't catch what I'm saying here, all these release notes are also available on the website itself. Okay, and for extensions, we have since October as well published, I think, 2 extensions, further extensions. So we have the SIAM extension, which is called the Industrial Service Integration. And that's focused on SIAM and processes and principles of SIAM, as well as how the BT standard actually has created sort of innovated processes and merged the agile process with the SIAM process. And that's something very interesting to look into as well. And of course, seeing that all of these extension comes and have impact always on the roles and governance, we always publish, or let's say update the role deck as well. And there you see in October, it was bumped up to 2.5. So that's something to look out for. Data operating model guidebook extension was released I think in October as well. And before that, or this was actually before that, my mistake, but they're all published. So it doesn't matter when, but we also then did I think a template, we provided a template update as well. And the sustainability template will give you more information about how to sustainably develop and follow up the business cases. Okay, then for today, we are releasing a new version. So the portfolio governance, and why is that? So let's see first, it's now, business technology standard is now on 4.6.1. So this is our latest release. And on the website, we have published the portfolio governance, or let's say portfolio-based development governance articles. So that's focused mainly on the Development Management Office, the DMO. A lot of people have been asking about DMO and how that works, and portfolio management and so on. So we have that as a particular focus on article, but we also have published a guidebook for that. So portfolio management and development governance is a more extensive guidebook or extension. And the other one that we also enhanced the SIAM with is the service lifecycle management. So this is a wider scope on how to manage the development from the whole development lifecycle of the service, essentially. And of course, we have updated again the governance and the roles as well to let's say be consistent. Okay, and maybe some of you noticed, maybe not, but here it says extension updates are available via training only. Well, I would like then to pass over again to Katri, and she will tell you about how to obtain these materials that we just talked about.
Are there any questions now, Paula, for Elena about this?
There was one question about, will we have a recording? And I already answered into the chat that we have a recording. So if you need to take a phone call, that's perfectly fine. We will be sending that afterwards.
Very good. Right, okay, as you can see, a lot of new things, and this is why also I'm so happy that now we have a full team working for the BT Forum and BT Standard itself. So you can see that that we are able then to fulfill the demand coming from the field on what we should have, and hopefully then now with these new updates and releases, you can complement either the standard and how you use it already, and maybe have answers to some of the questions or needs that you have had. And again, as I said, we are very much relying on you as the community and being the development community to tell us if something is there still missing. So now Elena mentioned the thing that some of these materials are available at the website, and some of them are available via training. And why is that? So as you know, the BT standard itself is about 135 pages more or less, and as I said, a lot of pictures that facilitates the reading, plus the articles that give a similar kind of explanation on certain topics than the standard itself. And that should be something that anybody can read. It's really written to anybody, not only the experts on the specific topic, but anybody to read and understand what this is about. Then there are a set of what are called the extensions, as Elena mentioned, and they go much deeper into a given topic. let's say behind me, I have the operating model for data governance, or then the roles and responsibilities model. And that is a set of documentation and frameworks and models that consist of like Elena said, to 50 to 100 pages. And for those, it's more of the templates and materials and models and pictures and less about text. And therefore, we want them to give you the proper understanding how to use those, what is the kind of meaning, why they are composed in a certain way, what challenges they respond to, and so forth, and actually build you the competence, the adequate competence to use them in your daily work. And therefore, we have these training courses that you see over here. And now the Green Card certification, as I told you, it will be and is already available for anybody. So you can just read the standard on the website and then try to pass the test. Then in the Business Technology Standard Practitioner course, we are actually then going through all these extension materials and giving you an overview of the totality of what's available within the BT standard. It's a 2-day course. Currently, we have the face-to-face courses available in our training center in Malaga. I will talk about that later on. But the whole point is really you to understand how these different extensions are aligned with each other and how they make the whole standard and what are the sort of best ways of taking each part in use. And they are meant to be, that course is meant for somebody who is actually already using the standard in own work, or then wants to start using a part of the standard on a daily in daily work. I'll understand all in all better what's available in the standard. Then the third certification level is the Business Technology Designer. There is the Operating Model Designer, but actually there are 4 different designer courses. There is the Operating Model Designer, Data Governance Designer, End-to-End Development Designer, and the Service Governance Designer. These each are a separate 2-day courses with the certification. That designer course is then is for people who actually whose work is to design and implement and adapt the BT standard in your organization. Or if you are a consultant or an advisor, so you learn how to do the adaptation in your customer's organization. So if I give you this slide over here. So as I said, we have now opened a training center in Malaga, and in that training center, we are running these practitioner courses every week, starting from March. And then every month there is a designer course with a specific topic. So one of the 4 topics. And in here you see actually the schedule for the spring sessions. So now some might ask that why Malaga? One of the reasons is that now, as I said, we now are more people working for the BT Forum, and our aim is to have new partners in Europe, new implementation partners, education partners, and development partners as well, all over Europe, and to increase the visibility of the BT standard there and increase the user community. Then the selection between, are you coming to Finland for the training or going to Malaga? Well, everybody have their own taste, but we are thinking also that from the distance perspective, it doesn't really matter so much whether you fly in to Malaga or Finland, if you prefer then the face-to-face training. And so we want to be more reachable to other European countries as well by having the training center over there. And when I look at the window over here with the kind of slush and snow coming, it's not so bad idea for anybody from the Nordic also to have an opportunity to go to see the sun every now and again. But all in all, if needed, of course, we do online training, and also if you want have a specific training for your organization, it is possible. But now here comes the very important point before I ask my colleague Hanna to join, our partner Hanna to actually join us, is that Business Technology Forum only provides training on the BT standard and provides only this certification training. So then if you need any other type of training, training that maybe uses BT standard but has some other specific topics there, or is then customized to your own organization, then our partners such as Sofigate with the BT Academy can provide you that. So now over to you, Hanna, to tell more about this.
Thank you, Katri. I'm so happy to see so many alumni here from our BT leaders or courses. So for those who don't know me, I'm Hanna Lassila-Schramek, but though some of you may know me as I've been with the Sofigate or IT or BT Academy now for almost 10 years. And those who don't know what I'm referring to when I speak about Academy, it's the certification program for IT or IT management as according to BT standard. Like Katri was saying, BT Forum and Standard is about the framework, and we are all about how to apply it in real life. So just to show you, you're in good company. So right now we have run over 68 courses, these BT leaders. It has had, favorite children always have many names. It has had other names before as well. 134 companies have gone through it. Or organizations, and almost 1,300 certified people. They're all over, from Europe, of course, Asia, South and North America as well. No Australia or Africa yet. So Katri, we have to together work on getting those as well to come. So just to show you that you're in very good company, and there's a lot of you around the world. And then if we move on, we are always trying to do things differently, as you know, and some of the latest additions for those who did your course already some years back is, for instance, this Agile Leadership Simulation Game Day. It's a lot of fun with all kinds of Mensa questions and playing Tetris, and I do kid a bit, but basically having lots of fun while talking about really serious BT stuff. It is very eye-opening experience, and one of the and a lot of people actually stay behind after the day just to talk about what just happened because they're so excited. And so that's one thing that you may not have known yet about the Academy. And then, of course, we always we're always keeping up with the latest BT standard development and self-leadership topics, which what are the most recent ones now. And so for there, the hot topic right now is positive psychology in leadership context. So we have sessions on that. And then, as a treat for you all the alumni, we have invited Antero Aunesluoma from Helsinki University to give you greetings from the latest program. And I wonder what has changed really in the past 10 years. So I've asked Antero to share with you what are his most important takeaways so far. So welcome, Antero, very much. And if you could introduce yourself first, and then please tell us how life is on the 69th course.
Thank you very much, and hello to everyone. My name is Antero Aunesluoma, and currently I'm working at the University of Helsinki. Actually been working there quite a while and on a different roles and areas. Lately, mostly leading and management roles, but before that did a long hike on as a specialist in educational technology and general IT, and also worked a couple of years as a teacher too. And as you notice from the picture, while I'm not working, you can find me on different sports events Yeah, a couple of years ago, I heard this term "mamil," middle-aged men in Lycras. That's the one. That's who I am. I also, at the summertime, I bike, I run. Hopefully, maybe someday in Malaga area, there might be good bike rides there available. But this picture is from the last month in the Kuopio, Eastern Finland, where we had this skating race. Actually, it's a pretty rare picture because in that moment I was leading the pack. Mostly I've been just following others and enjoying and trying to learn new things. I could describe myself as a lifelong learner, as both in a professional and in leisure time. I enjoy getting myself in new things and new problems and new questions. And maybe then I could say a couple of words about the University of Helsinki. There's one slide, the next slide, please. And in case you don't know, the University of Helsinki, we are the oldest, biggest, you could proudly say we are the best university in Finland, and we are ranked in the top 100 in globally. And this picture is our new main library in pretty close to the city center of Helsinki a couple of years ago. And we have 4 campuses all over the Helsinki area, 11 faculties from veterinary medicine, science, humanities. And there's quite a lot of people. If you count together the students and employees, it's 40,000 of us. About the information technology or business technology, that what is the business? Our business, it's science, and it's science-based education and of course cooperation with the society. And as well as in the other organizations at the moment, more and more the main tools for doing our business, which means science or education, is via IT. And just before that, I browsed our portfolio system. I found there almost 600 different IT systems. And I think one thing that I think all universities, especially research-based universities, share globally is that we don't have decentralized IT. Of course, we have the IT department, which owns like with about 100 systems, and then they take care of like all our infrastructure services, information security, and that. But we have also lots of systems that they are only used in one certain research group or just some other unit in some of our 11 faculties. Or in the central administration where I work at the university services, we also have like 170 different systems, and the ownership is on the different units and departments, other student services or communications or whatever. So on the next slide, we started the project, Intra development project, a bit over a year ago, and we had some current challenges that we need to take in control in the near future, and I pointed out 3. Of course, we found some other also, but we have a strong culture of autonomous and agile teams and projects also in the administration, but we still need to have some kind of centralized control over those. Now, how to combine these two was one of our key questions. And on the other hand, the business technology or IT costs, they are rising all the time, every day, and the demands are also ever increasing. We also have to find a balance with these two. And I think our university and most of the universities, they are open and cooperative by tradition, but we still need to enhance that, especially in the business technology area, where we need more cooperation or openness towards the different teams and projects who are working. And during the project last year, we did some benchmarking on other organizations. We browsed lots of literature and frameworks. I think you all know that we have like tens or hundreds different frameworks in this area at the moment. There is no lack of those. But last spring, we found this new version of business technology model, and found that's the most suitable for us at the moment. And we chose the business technology model as a framework for our future development. And that's why I enrolled the business technology leader program, which started last September. And when we started it, I think it was just maybe before the first sessions or around that, I formulated some of my personal learning objectives. And it was really nice to take a look at those now when we are on our last stage. I think we have only like one meeting left, but mostly done all the learning and that. And I think especially the two first ones to get the overall and deep enough view of the model, and especially the three disciplines of demand, development, and services. I think those objectives I've met. I can proudly say that I've met them like well enough. And the later two about the roles, all the roles that this model offers, and there's one key concept of value streams in a way of organizing the development. Of course, I've learned a lot about those areas, but that's something that we really need to put into practice in our university on the following months, years, and I think I have lots of learning still do on those 2 points. But after all, like at this point, it was I also found maybe, which I didn't having that clear in my mind when we started the program, that, but I also found that like in every module and every meeting we had, we also did some really nice and good exercises as individually as in teams, which I could say that developed my skills in leadership and transformation. How to have like a 30-second pitch speed for the CXO level or on certain issue or something like that. And I have to also mention that I had also really good time with really good company. I'm really happy to join the alumni network of all of you who have been in the previous leadership programs. But that's about my greetings in short, and please, if you have anything in question, you can ask me. Thank you.
Thank you, Antero, so much. I love this picture with the Lego men. I don't think we have this good of a picture of it from this angle. That's great. My children used to always ask, Mom, how do you get to play with Legos at work? That's so unfair. So excellent. Thank you. I will now pass this on back to Katri, unless I don't see anybody turning their microphones on, or I'm not seeing it. Chat had a question about Train the Trainer program, and maybe we can take that. But Antero, thank you once again, and
yes,
thank you.
Thank you, Antero, on my behalf as well. And I've been along with that with the journey a lot, and also because last year still I was also working in the BT Academy, and I remember the designing the Lego exercise for you. We just wanted that, okay, it's time to play Lego in there no matter what, and therefore putting the role hats in there and making you to pass in the development flow with the Lego characters. I think that was something to remember. Yeah, maybe I could take a couple of questions. They have come to the panelists, but they are related to the partnerships and knowing that there might be other partners also listening. So there's one question about if there is a concept of an organizational BDS certification compared, for instance, the other vendors doing kind of partner programs. The implementation partner contract actually defines that there needs to be a certain number of certified, designer level certified consultants and then we do the partnership agreement. So not maybe certifying the whole organization, but then as a partner organization based on the number of people that are certified as designers. I hope, Rob, this answers your questions. If not, please clarify or ask more. And then there is a question about the train the trainers BDS program, so that having maybe other the partners who can train the BD standard. Yes, this is what we are considering at the moment, and giving the authorization then for partners also to train the BD standard. Actually, I'm now looking for somebody who could actually maybe would like to move to Spain and be there a trainer for the BD standard. So if anybody is interested in working in the sun and train the BD standard, to get in touch with me. But yes, all this will be made available and more information about those during this year will come. Right, so I think now we have gone through the first part of the program. So before we let the Sofigate to continue with Timo, we'll have a little break. So let's let me check what time is it. It's 5:02, so let's continue at 3:05 in EET time. For the CET, it's 2:05. So a bit less than a 10 minutes break. See you in a couple of minutes. Okay, it's 5:05 for me as well, and I see Timo is already here. So just to clarify maybe a bit more, so the BD Forum is the not-for-profit organization providing the services around and the development of the BD standard. And now we have one of our implementation partners, Sofigate, here to tell how they use the BD standard, what the business is, and then I will let you, Timo, to tell you about these exciting case stories that we will be hearing later on during this presentation. So I will give you now the chance to share, Timo, so please take over and introduce yourself.
Yeah. Thank you, Katri. And before letting you go, it was truly inspiring to hear what are the new extensions. And I'm a personal visual person, so I truly like those visualizations that you can share within your organization. And that's why I give you thumbs up for the previous part. So thank you, Katri, and the BD Forum here. So let me take my screen and share it with you. So here we go. And so my name is Timo Savolainen. I'm presenting here Sofigate. And if you don't know, Sofigate is the leading Nordic business technology transformation company. When I joined company 9 years ago, we were only 100 people, but today we are plus 600 people with 100 million revenue. We are growing fast at the moment. We have 3 countries where we have offices, but as well as that, we have many technology platforms that we are providing as a service and also consulting related to them. So I would say that we are the leading digital transformation partner in the Nordics. And like mentioned, we are one of the implementation partners here at Business Technology Standard. And this might give you the impression what we have done. Personally, I have been involved in many assignments as a designer and a coach for CIOs and the management teams. And I truly feel that this business technology standard gives a true foundation for any organization, no matter what's the industry, or is it a public listed company or public organization, to truly benefit those years that are taken into the standard through the last 10-15 years. We have in Sophiegate, we have a really wide experience. Here you can see some of the industries that we have been working on, and maybe it's correct to say that we have been working with all of the industries that are available in all the Nordic countries. And you can find those chat links from the chat. You can find the links from some of our success stories. So from example, from the banking and finance, you can see the Fennia. It's a really traditional company, if I put it in that way, but now they have gone through a really big transformation, and we have been part of that, really helping them to implement the business technology operating model. Of course, there are other, and overall, I would say that there is more than 200 different implementations that we have been part of. So if you want to really avoid the pitfalls, if you don't want to reinvent the wheel, just contact us, and we are here to help you. And maybe something as mentioned, I'm a visual person as well. So this picture on the right hand side, for me, it reminds me about F1, the Formula One racing. And what brings value for you and your organization is that you have the best car in use. But that's not enough. You need the best team as well. And sometimes you need to change the engine of the company. And here is the operating model, the key part of the car here. And this is what we do. This is what our team do in the Nordic countries. So in Finland, Sweden, and Denmark as well. So we are providing you the team to really fast change the engine and moving forward. And my last slide is actually also the title of this webinar. So how you can actually succeed with business technology transformation. And as we all know, this kind of transformation where we touch people, processes, roles, and operating model, it's never easy. And that's why it's sometimes good to hear stories from somebody who has gone through already this kind of a transformation. And today we have two guest speakers. And first of them will be Jens Greiner from SKF, telling about agile transformation journey, because we know one of the hype terms for the last years has been this agility. What does it mean on organizational level? How companies that has been established many decades ago can really turn this engine around and change it while you are doing the business as well. And the second guest speaker is Mikko Tepponen from FL Smith, and he's presenting the business technology triathlon. And I was truly happy to see that Antero has this sport skate picture over there. So I truly see that this is something that is similar for all of us listening this today. So we are the leaders in this scene, and we really need to take some lessons from the sports as well. So that's maybe something that Mikko can open up. And like mentioned, this is also what we do at Sophiegate as business technology standard partners. So my name is Timo Savola, and I'm leading the business technology operating model practice. And I'm truly happy to help you. So if you have any questions, how would what could we do, feel free to contact me. There is my contact information, and as well, I'm happy to connect you in LinkedIn. So please send me invitation, and I'm truly happy to have a chat with you. But that's basically it. And now I would like to ask, I already noticed that the Jens, you are online. So maybe we can starting your show here. So good afternoon, Jens.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. I'm happy to be here.
Really good. And may I ask, where is here? Where are you located?
Here is in Germany, but what I mean with here is in your session today, right? Oh,
yes, exactly.
Huh?
Now, if you could share your screen and
yes,
that's
my video is not working. It was working, right?
It was, yes. We actually saw you just a minute ago. And while you are fixing the video, now we can see it. Here we are.
It was just a cable. I hit a bit too hard the desk, so the cable, the USB connection is not perfect.
Yeah. And if you just take your presentation while I warm you up here, so this is really interesting. Like Katri mentioned earlier in this webinar, that this is the leading standard. As we can see, I'm here in Greater Helsinki area from Finland. You are in Germany. And that's something that's common for us, so we can use this standard as a framework. But now, I think I can see your screen. The video is all right. So the stage is yours. Please, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Go on.
Thanks a lot. And we'll run you through a bit of the agile transformation, what we have done in SKF, starting in 2020, end of 2020, and running until still today. So it's not finished. We are just quite some steps ahead of where we started. So I'm responsible as head of digital solutions for a bunch of agile teams in different domains. And before I start with the presentation, a few words to SKF. I think SKF is pretty well known in the Nordics. We are well known as a bearing manufacturing company. We are more than 100 years old, so very traditional business. But beside the normal bearing business, we have everything around the rotating shaft. It's about lubrication, it's about sealing, it's about measurement equipment for condition monitoring or for rotating equipment performance. We have different services. So everything that is around the rotating shaft is where we are in our business. And we have defined a while back 6 focus areas. And the 6 focus areas is about digital sales. It is about the new business models. It's about innovation. It's about world-class manufacturing, future workforce, and about clean tech. And if you look at all these kind of things, then for sure, digital sales, it's obvious it's a digital layer. It's something with digitalization. It's about new business models. It's mostly about the business models we all know now pretty well, especially during pandemic. Everything is done remotely, web shops, e-commerce, highly automated. Innovation, smart products. So our products becoming smart in 2 different ways, having electronics directly to be connected, so like smart lubricators we have, or also bearings where we have a data matrix code on the bearing to identify that this is a genuine SKF bearing or additional information from the life cycle. So a lot of things happening in this innovation that has to do with digital layer. World-class manufacturing, Industry 4.0, I think it's self-explaining. Future workforce is to do all the things we need to have the right people, and clean tech is this beyond zero, what we are looking for, that we consume or create less CO2 than we are saved by having our own solar panels on the factories, but also by having highly efficient running bearings for our customers. Give you a short, brief overview about the digitalization milestones we have had over the years. Is in 2004, I joined SKF. And at that time, we started to build our own private cloud. We didn't call it a private cloud. It was a bunch of virtualized servers where we run applications on it to get information or data sent from wind turbines. So especially wind turbines because they're on remote locations. In 2009, we industrialized it and we created the first software as a service solution in the market for condition monitoring. based on our private cloud. This means what worked well internally, we started to make a product out of it to make it available to our customers externally. We then moved to a global rollout 2012. This means we went for a public cloud provider, but a smaller one or a less known one of the 3-4 big ones we have today. And in 2016, I was starting to draft the sketch of a digital platform. This means beyond this normal software as a service solution. It was really about having everything in place that we need in the future, like streaming data, IoT management capabilities, big data, AI or machine learning analytic capabilities, frameworks, all this kind of things was under the headline of the digital platform. And when we started to went for a cloud provider, we identified when we used this kind of technology, it was a kind of a game changer starting from 2016 onwards, because technology was not longer the limitation. And this was something where we said in 2020, it is not the technology that limits us to be successful. It's about us. This means our culture, our way of working. This is exactly what is the limiting factor. So we initiated in 2020 this future IT, and therefore it is about cultural change and way of working change what we started. And here was also a touch point where we started with Sofigate. Based on the business technology framework, we said we want to build our own governance and definition and way of working. We want to implement it. We want to keep it as simple as possible, but also we want to start with speed. Therefore, we want to rely on something that is existing and tweak that to what we need instead of starting from scratch and building our own stuff. And also we were not, I was personally not convinced to go full for the safe integration, because it's a very, very big thing. It's a lot of good things in, but at the end, if you just take it and you bring it into the company, it doesn't feel your own stuff, and it's really a complex one. So we started with Sofigate. In the transformation, we discussed and defined that this was end of 2020, October. We discussed, okay, I want to go from project to product. This is one of the key elements, that we are not having this project start endpoint. We want to have products continuously delivered by teams. Therefore, the team should work in an agile setup. We need to really look into the agile way of working. We need to build the competence that we can do this properly and run really having the right people at the right place so that we can speed up and execute. And the right one is time to benefit is something we want to be faster. We want to shorten the time to benefit, not the time to market. Time to market is I push something into the market and hopefully it makes sense. Time to benefit means I need to understand what is needed, and I want to shorten the time when we deliver value to our customers, internal and external. To make this crisp, I put together a mission statement, and this is about Accelerate the New is the work stream within this future IT initiative. And the goal was to implement a culture or create a culture that is customer and employee centric, to adapt faster to changes than any other company, to shorten the time to benefit for our customers. And this implements pretty much everything. It is about employee centric. It is about customer centric. Customer are fueling our income. The employees are the ones who make it possible that we deliver whatever we want to deliver as a value to our customers. And we want to adapt faster. We want to have the culture that changes. And if this is market driven, if this is from a legal perspective driven, or if this is an internal decision that we want to do something else, whatever change we are facing, we want to be faster in adapting the change so that this becomes an opportunity for us and not a threat when we talk about SWOT analysis. If we can do and adapt better than others, then it is an advantage for us. This means changes are losing a bit this kind of, that we are afraid of it. We see them as an opportunity to become better on the market. And we want to deliver this with passion, competence, empowerment, and fun. So because only if we have fun, we will have the passion for what we are doing. If we have the passion, we will become better, we will invest, we will learn. And empowerment is for sure. If I'm passionate, but I'm not able to take the right decisions in the right time, then it's also a bit frustrating quite often. How did we start this journey? We started and said we will outline the next phase, which is normally a quarter. I will outline the things. I did a complete picture for the Accelerate the New for a complete year, but it was a vision-driven picture. And then I outlined the first quarter. And the first quarter was about building the foundation, finding the right people. Who are the right ones to start with the change? Deliver first results. And you see below, these are roadmaps really just grabbed from Sofigate when we discussed, and Sofigate supported us in these different steps, what we have done. And I will come to a bit more details soon. And we built the organization and implement new products and build competence in the second phase. And I just mentioned it or put the awareness and desire state. This was the first 3 months, right? And then we have the second phase, which is about competence, building the things and also adjusting the organization. Phase 3, it's about the ability. Here we combined the agile way of working with the waterfall and sequential one. We built things there to support. We integrated into the standard systems, ITSM and SIAM systems and workflows. And we started to scale the agile way of working. And the last phase was, which was a half a year. You see the roadmap looks different. This was really to speed up the rollout. Here we trained our complete IT and business, quite a bunch or a significant amount of people in the business. Finding the right people. It's about the ratio you spend into convincing people to join into the journey versus the people that really joins in, that commits to the change. And the question was, how do we find the right people? And somehow you need to rise the bar to a certain level so that it is not just, nice to be in. It is really to be engaged and committed that they want to contribute to make this a success. And this is a typical graph you can grab from any kind of book. It's about the innovators, the early adopters, the early majority. And I decided we go for the innovators and for the early adopters. This is enough from the amount of people we have, where we create a kind of a wave that takes the others in so that we create an interest that they join in from their perspective. On the other hand, it is much easier to convince these people to go in this direction versus if you start with a late majority discussion, it's a lot of time you invest and you will not get a lot of people onboarded. This turned out pretty well. And in the first phase, we defined and launched 3 products. So we really set up 3 product teams. And what you see below are the slides, which is part of the Agile Playbook. And the second bullet point, you see the Agile Playbook. This was delivered 4 workshops together with Sofigate, with a team. Still, my computer thinks that. Good, but I will just go ahead.
Yes, please.
Yes. So the Agile Playbook was completely delivered within the first 3 months. And this was really a success. We had 4 workshops and a final rep together. And then we delivered a complete Agile Playbook for the Agile way of working within SKF IT. Defining the roles and the principles, the values, how to run, what kind of artifacts you have in Agile, and so on. And we also launched the Agile Foundation training. We trained the first people in the first quarter. And then we moved to the second phase. And the second phase was to reshape the organization, that the organization follows the new way of working, not the other way around. It was not a reorganization to have an impact. It was doing an impact on the way of working and then shape the organization that supports the way of working. And you see, we have these bubbles and we have product cluster teams. We have product teams, which is the smallest unit we have. And then we have the chief product owners, these bubbles in the middle. The leaders are embedded and not in a hierarchical setup. Also, the design is a bit different, but this will take a bit too much time maybe to go into. And then we built more products. This means we defined even more products and started to transform existing teams into agile teams and also in having this product ownership really implemented. And for sure, we also did the product owner training at that time. And you see the small icon below on the bottom right. So we created, it was a request from the training attendees. Couldn't we have badges that we can add to our email? And this was fantastic because we didn't even thought about it that this could be of interest. And we saw in these badges and the certifications, these internal certifications showing up on LinkedIn, where our own employees were proud to show this to the world that they really attended the different trainings. By the way, the trainings were designed together with Sofigate, or Sofigate designed together with us, the trainings, and also the trainings were executed by Sofigate coaches, plus SKF people, so that we have our SKF people involved into also playing the customer, for example, in such a training. In phase 3, we did improvements to the Agile playbook. For example, what kind of tools do we need? We introduced the chapter approach. We added also appendixes when it comes to the ITSM and SIAM onboarding things. And we developed the hybrid project playbook. The hybrid playbook combines and links the Agile way of working together with the traditional waterfall or sequential projects. So this was done in phase 3 in Q2 2022 and rolled out. And we added the last training of the 3, the Scrum Master training, and started also now to speed up the Scrum Master trainings. And in phase 4, we were looking not into doing new things. We want to make the things work. That's why I called it a bit the reinforcement. If you looked at or think about the first slide, is the ADKAR model: the awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement. In phase 4, for the last half year, we really coached individuals, especially product owners, because it's a very challenging new role they took on to support them. We managed and coached projects, especially the hybrid projects, but also partly pure Agile projects. Also here we had coaches in from Sofigate, and we also coached internally with our more experienced people. So we have this as a combined approach. And we scaled the training up to a level that I couldn't even expect when we started the journey. When we started, we said the goal was to train full IT, but we trained also a bunch from the business side. We trained 25% of the attendants were managers. This means we also focus on getting the managers onboarded before their teams are onboarded, because otherwise the team gets stuck if they are not really part of this journey, the management. And so we ended up with more than 400 people at the end of 2021. And this was done within 1 year to train complete IT on the different levels, plus the business, including the management, having the Agile playbook, the hybrid project playbook in place, running coaching, and transform a bunch of teams into product teams. And we see impact that now teams spinning up in an Agile way of working, which we never thought, we never touched. It is just purely they attended a training, they discussed internally, and the business started to build their own Agile approach and requested from us that we need to follow the Agile way of working, which is very funny. That this was really now coming back to us as a request. You need to work according to the Agile setup. We see the benefit there. And that was pretty much the complete idea, that we create a wave, that it becomes a self-running thing, that the people are buying in and driving this, making this their own transformation. A short summary, it is about early adopters. It was good to use the early adopters as an approach. So they created a wave we needed to get started. We had this bottom-up approach. This means starting with the employees, because when you want to change the culture, you need to really start bottom-up. But you need to have a top-down support. Without a top-down support, it is a challenge. You will not be able to succeed. But to have the management buy in continuously, if you have short phases and you deliver value, like the first trainings, the first product teams, the Agile playbook, within 3 months, they will tick the box for the investment for the next 3 months. And we deliver the next piece, the hybrid project playbook and the trainings, and we scaled the trainings. We got excellent feedback. I haven't this in, but it's out of a 5-star rating, we achieved 4.6 or something like that, if I have it correct in my mind, on the training level. And the next thing is also then the competence, clarity, and empowerment. And clarity is something that is maybe not even touched here. We are currently starting by implementing OKRs as more management agility layer on top of the Agile way of working, and teams first, right? It's about the teams. The employees within the teams, they are doing the job and they are executing. So, and Zofigate supported us during the journey. Within this year, it was a very, very open and good collaboration. It's a partnership. It's not a supplier. In this case, we really discussed a lot. And it was extremely fast and speedy how we really ramped up within a few weeks, to be honest, in 2 weeks, more or less, in October, to get this to get these achievements, what we have here. So, and I'm open for questions and answers, Q&A.
Thank you, Jens, for sharing this truly inspiring story. And let me see if we can get your video still back on, if you can. Yep. There we are. Yes, it's coming and going, but at least the voice is working. I think the story was so inspiring that we have already one question in the chat, and feel free to send some more if there is. But there was a question if you could share the presentation already as soon as possible. As a host or co-host with Katri, I can promise that we will send all the materials as soon as possible. Would it be today? I'm not sure, but we do our best.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there any other questions that at least I cannot see yet in the chat? But maybe something that I really enjoyed was this fun part, because as we know, it must be frustrating to sit in Zoom meetings or Teams meetings day to day, and this is now what we have to do, and that's why I like this fun part here.
Yeah.
But maybe my question is looking back that journey that you have gone through, and I think that there is many listeners in the beginning of that journey. So I think you're kind of a forerunner here. What would you say as a one advice or something, best practice to share for somebody who's starting the journey and thinking about should we do this or not? What would you say here?
It's a good question. I think the summary touches a bit on this one. I think it's good to think about who you want to convince to join into the journey. You need to create a certain mass when you start something. If you can't do this as a one-man show or as a one-person or 5-person show, you need to get a certain amount of people really into this at the beginning, into this transformation, and find the right people. There is important that you really create this awareness on a broader base. Bottom-up approach worked pretty well, but you make sure you have the top-down support. Without a top-down support, you will run immediately into most probably into a dead end. Let me call it like this, right? Because then you will be questioned. The third thing is that you really slice it down into small chunks where you plan the next 3 months. I did it on 3 months, but it could be also a different time frame. But slice it down, make it precise what you're delivering during that. Keep the focus and do it in this time frame, and don't spend too much time what is after the 3 months. But having from the beginning for sure the vision where you want to end up at the end of the year, or maybe in 2 years or half a year. It depends on the size what you want to do in the transformation. Having a clear understanding, this means the target, the flag need to be always visible from a vision perspective, but have it sliced down into small chunks that keeps you very focused. And for sure, don't try to invent everything yourself. Rely on good practices and a good partner at the end, because you're always in a day-to-day business. Beside this transformation, this was a side project I drove. I still run my complete organization. And I'm talking about an organization that is 16 agile teams in total, so a quite significant amount. So this is still my day-to-day operations business. This was the transformation. After the transformation, the reorganization, I had this bigger organization, and in parallel, I need to speed up my organization beside the future IT. So really use things that are proven and available, but also be brave and cut out things that you think doesn't make sense, or keep it simple. Keep it really simple.
Excellent. Thank you again, Jens. This has been truly inspiring story. The chat is getting full speed with more questions. Unfortunately, we need to go forward. So thank you again for your time and this presentation. Next, we have Mikko Tepponen.
Thanks, everybody. Yeah, and sorry for my camera issues. I don't know why this is not working so well. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. And I can already see that Mikko is there. How is your day so far? Let's test the voice and everything. At least because I mentioned I'm here in the Helsinki area and it's snowing here. It's getting back to winter. Where are you today?
So I'm today in Copenhagen as usual. So I'm based out of Copenhagen and it looks like it's a bit windy and a little bit of rain and normal standard Danish winter weather. So as a Finn, I would probably prefer the snow, but life takes you to places. So that's how it goes.
Excellent. So please take your presentation and while you are getting it. So next is everything about business technology triathlon, and we had already earlier today about skating. I personally enjoy snowboarding, and what about business technology triathlon? So that's a really inspiring title already. So with these words, I would like to feel free to take the stage, Mikko, and of course, introduce yourself and what is all about business technology triathlon. Thank you.
Absolutely. I hope you can see the slides as well. So all working well. So good. Yes, absolutely. I'll come back to the triathlon part. It's kind of one of the craziness that I've fallen a victim of. Actually, I'm one of the early adapters in this space because I've done it now over probably soon 15 years. When I started triathlon, at least in Finland, it was a very small group of crazy people sort of in the town of Joroinen getting together every summer to sort of practice this craziness. But now it seems like it's a boom across the world. Like I said, my name Mikko Tepponen. I'm the Chief Digital Officer here at FLSmidth, and I'll come back to what FLSmidth does in a while. But of course, the big question: what does Chief Digital Officer mean for a company like FLSmidth? It means that I actually have kind of like three responsibilities and hats that I'm actually carrying. One is around, let's say, driving our digital business, which is a combination of what one could call an automation business, and then of course software business. That's a roughly 50 million euro business that I'm driving. And then of course I'm also handling at the same time all of our IT. So everything that goes into our infrastructure and our IT, and then of course the small task of transforming the company and driving the sort of the digital transformation forward. So those tasks keep me very busy, and even that kind of has a three legs into it. So the triathlon team will be totally fulfilled as per today. But that's what I do, and just a few words on FLSmidth. For everybody to know, we are an original equipment manufacturer, and we deliver equipment and plants to two industries, mining and cement. We're probably the world leader in cement, sort of how many plants have been delivered, and then in mining, we're delivering all sorts of plants and equipment globally, fully global, 60 countries where we operate in, and of course right now, like most of our type of companies, we're really dedicated and devoted on driving sustainability agenda. We call it Mission Zero. So how do we drive the zero emissions both in mining and cement, which actually in combination consists of roughly 8 to 10% of world CO2 emissions come from these two industries. So people say that they want to work in this and that. We always say that you should come to work for us, where we can truly make an impact on the world as such. That's our way of attracting talent, which is, of course, a challenge for everybody nowadays. Just a few other facts. We just celebrated our 140th birthday in a couple of weeks ago. So we were founded in early January 1882. Roughly a little bit over 10,000 employees, 2 to 2.5 billion euros. The DKK is always a little bit, of course, sort of challenging to those who are not accustomed to working in Danish krona. And like I said, fully globally, we operate in 6 regions, 60 countries plus, all across the world, sort of delivering those equipment and capabilities for our customers. What I wanted to discuss and present today was really about, like Timo alluded to, was a business technology triathlon. And why triathlon, and what does it mean? Of course, there's different distances. I'm the one who's gone for the full distance Ironman triathlons, which is a combination of 3.8 kilometers swimming and 180 cycling, and then just a small marathon in the end. And that's typically tends to test your endurance, of course, but also you tend to hit a little bit of rough spots here and there. So your character will be also tested. And like I said, my role in FLSmidth is to drive digital transformation as a whole. So how do we really support the business as it stands per today, but how do we also move forward? So my saying is that okay, this is a marathon, but the marathon is a little bit too short the distance for my liking. So that's why the that one can eat for breakfast. So that's me last summer in front of the Danish Parliament House after finishing the yet another version of these full distance ones. And that was actually when I qualified for the World Championships then in Hawaii for this year. So let's see how hopefully next year, if we do the similar one, then I'll have a nice lay on my neck after finishing that race. But let's talk about let's say the digital transformation and how the business technology plays a role, and how has that played a role for us in the context of that triathlon. So our business technology triathlon in FLSmidth is kind of like, okay, there's 3 legs here. So we need to sort of first bring some structure to the chaos, and then sort of that's kind of your swimming part. You're just getting started. Then sort of how to sort of most of the time will be spent on sort of being able to sort of deliver, to earn the trust with the business together. That's kind of the bulk of your exercise that you need to sort of do. And I would categorize that as FLSmidth, we're still here. So I think we're sort of peaking towards the final part of the triathlon, which is the run part. And of course, from my perspective, that is where the transformation is kind of made or lost. So in the end, that's where you need to balance the short and long term. So I'll come back to each one of them and what we've done, and together then with sort of the business technology as sort of the founding sort of model through which we're sort of operating through this. When we start with the first part, when I came to the company roughly 2 years ago, a little bit less than 2 years ago, we were really missing some structures through which we would govern all the development projects, whether it's on IT or digital transformation or even R&D. And what first needed to be put in place is essentially the governance and the structure. Kind of boring things, but very, very necessary to put in place. And just like in the triathlon, it's not where you can win the race, but you can certainly lose it if you fail on that. And our principles around that was very, very clear. We wanted to build an end-to-end organization with limited handovers. So it means that sort of our, let's say, my organization, my digital organization is organized in a structure that can deliver end-to-end. So you're managing the demand, you're managing the actual development, you're managing the operations and the run part as an end-to-end delivery towards the business, so that we can sort of limit those handovers and sort of complexity within our organization, and then focus purely on sort of how do we move forward together with the business. Focus on value capture and how do we sort of really enhance those critical processes of the company, building the ownership for the business to actually own these decision meetings and layers and all sorts of things, and how do we delayer these things that the right people can make the right decisions at the right time. I think we found that the whole business technology model helped us to sort of set that up in a right fashion. And then in the end, giving full transparency for business, for all things. We moved fully into totally open books from when it comes down to finances, when it comes down to business being able to see where each of their development projects are, and all the phases, and how can they sort of see and live and monitor and sort of work together as to move us forward. So setting those foundational principles in place so that we can move then forward quicker. So that's where we started. Then, like I said, quite quickly it moves into that, okay, you then, once you set out the structures and you work together with the business, well, what are you actually working on? It comes from the fact that then you need to be able to deliver to earn the trust. And it's sort of like, well, trust seems a little bit of like a more of a human thing, but essentially all of these transformations come down to people working together with people. So we need to earn the trust from the business to order to deliver. And for us, that's a kind of like where, like I said, that's where we feel that we are currently. It takes a little bit longer than one. Maybe I'm impatient. That we want to sort of tackle those, be able to deliver on those projects, on those developmental items, whatever the business wants us to do with the right speed. So it comes down to being able to scale an agile and scalable delivery using external partners, prioritizing delivering the right value. When I joined, we had a lot of projects ongoing. Then you ask and deliver what's the actual value that these projects should be delivering. Then you, in many cases, you get a little bit of a puzzled look by the business that what do you mean by what value should this be delivering? And then in the end, we're sort of working heavily against some of the technology partnerships, which can fast track some of our development. And that's all of that is done to earn the trust from the business. And like I said, in some areas, we've then moved already to sort of really try to push that envelope, that what is really the true transformation that a certain function, for example, we as a large stock exchange company have a finance function. What's the real transformation of that finance organization that we really need to drive? How do we enable our sort of, let's say, our business model in our, like most OEMs, we make most of our money by selling spare parts into the equipment that we first delivered for our customers. So, which is, of course, we are the man in the middle there. What's stopping the customers from buying directly from the factories where we're actually producing some of our parts and equipment? So how do we transform the business model? Those core, more harder discussions are not so easy to be had. So how do you become that trusted advisor comes to delivering and the previous phase? And this is then in the end, like I said, in most of the triathlon races, the run is then in the end where it's sort of the result is truly made or lost. But it's also a bit painful running the marathon after you already probably done 6 or 7 hours of exercise beforehand. So how do we focused on building those continuous roadmaps that span from all the way from operational to tactical to strategical levels, and then sort of focused on redefining some of those systems and structures and processes, and then going through that process over and over again. Like I said, this is where we're still maybe a bit on the early part of it, but sort of in certain areas moving heavily towards that. To sort of 2 more points to wrap up is for us, we, like I said, I already mentioned quite a few of these. What we used, especially the business technology model into, and how we're sort of ramping that up is to focus on 4 things. And then the lessons we focused at, okay, the simplifying is really important. So just like a business technology, let's say, operating model, it consists of everything. So how do you simplify? You take out the roles, you take out the things that actually not so relevant for you. You focus on the most important things first, and then you sort of figure that that's our operating model 1.0. And then we need to move. Then later on, we'll tackle some of the other things that we cannot do all at once. For us, we feel that the transformation is, especially in an industrial old, like I said, long traditions, 140 years, engineers, very sort of stubborn. I wouldn't say I've worked in both in Finland and Denmark. Both engineers are equally stubborn in Finland and in Denmark. So, but it's a pendulum. So you have to be able to sort of, you earn the right to transform a function by delivering first, and then you can swing it back towards the more strategic, longer term discussion and how do you do that. A lot of focus for us has been around the communication. That really is on like all the transformations. It's sort of, you need to tackle that, including then the sort of the operating model discussion, and then to set a sort of clear direction that for us, for example, is all companies need, let's say, digital or IT, whatever you want to call it, but no organization kind of needs a digital or an IT organization. So our organization and its existence is not a value on its own. The more we can do together with the business, within the business, is actually a direction that we're pushing ourselves forward towards. I also had at the same time of all of this happening, we are of course a company who's been growing in the history, and we've now continuing to grow through acquisitions as well. So also took that the liberty to put couple of notes down on the IT side of mergers and acquisitions. My colleagues in my day-to-day work call that the dark side. So hence here the lovely figure. But we feel that that's actually a lot of questions I've had, that should we do these merger and acquisition related sort of IT activities something as a standalone activity? And I said that absolutely not. They all need to work through the same governance, through the same operating model. The projects needs to be defined equally. Yes, you might have synergy targets and you might need to do this and that and combine and consolidate systems and all sorts of things. I just put down here just a couple of notes from my perspective that when we have been going through, and these are when we talk very complex, let's say, integrations with multiple countries and multiple ERP systems and systems landscapes, and just the latest one that we're now doing, we're talking about, let's say, hundreds of applications being transferred, tens and dozens of applications being absorbed, so and so forth and so forth, and then sort of long TSAs and all sorts of contractual issues and whatnot. So there's many things that you need to focus on, but I just put down a few here. So how to focus on the operating model, the enterprise architecture, building different timelines, early negotiations with the sort of especially the key software vendors, ramping up and down using the external capabilities, and then focusing on sort of, and what the key point, what we are using this for as part of our structure is actually we're using the M&A as an opportunity to accelerate our own change. We've had topics and areas where we had a lot of legacy systems. Now that there's acquisitions coming into the play, now it's the time also to set that this is the target for the whole company, and this is how we then move forward. So that was a very, very, very quick, let's say, run through of what I had for you today, as per my business technology triathlon, and then the final short comment around on Darth Vader there. So.
Thank you, Mikko. I truly inspired about your story, what you have told us today. And on behalf of the audience, I really truly like to thank you for this dark side as well, because sometimes we kind of forget it. Somebody else might be doing that, but like mentioned, we are still human to human business, even though like one of your statements was that every company needs IT, but still we are in the people business. At this point, unfortunately, the time is going quite fast, so we don't have any time for comments and questions at this point from the audience. But feel free to send them still to the chat, and let's say if we can figure it out somehow. So again, Mikko, thank you for your presentation. This was a really, really nice story. And now I would like to give to Katri for a wrap up and closing the seminar.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much for our guest speakers. It's so inspiring to see now the true story going, and the PT standard in live used in different ways in different companies. And I think that was really, really nice that when we nowadays work a lot of in the designing the models and developing models, and then it is so nice to see when you actually see the things in action. So I think in this way, the combination of combining both the theory and theory with the practice is very good. So this was this month's Wednesday webinar. We intend to have these webinars hopefully every month, if not every 2 months, and with kind of the latest updates always being one of the topics, but we are really wanting also to showcase you the actual cases and stories of who have been taking the standard in use. And this way, this is a very much how the community works, that you share your experiences, share what you have been doing and learning to the whole community. So in this sense, I think this type of webinars are a really nice way to connect everybody. So for now, we thank you for your participation. And as said, we will be, the webinar was recorded. You will have an after webinar email where you have access to the materials and to the recording of the webinar as well. And if anything, please let us know if we can help you with, so you have our contacts in the slides. So thank you very much and have a nice evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.